Mr. Jablonski.
Here.
And Mr. Helgeson.
Here. Agenda item 2, announcements and statements from the audience. Jim.
A state that it's disappointing that Walter HCD is here every meeting. We kind of shows that maybe they're not interested in the project or at least the timely completion of it. And then on the agenda and reference to the agenda item 5, I'd like to see this body hopefully today determine some specific deliverables and goals, timelines and deadlines on the building project. I'd encourage the project to get out to bid as soon as possible. Furthermore, this body can hopefully determine a realistic budget number, whatever that is, if it's 8 million or 9 million or 99 million, and then make formal specific direction to Weston boards to seek approval for funding for that number. Speaking as a Weston resident only, they don't attend the Rothschild meetings. There has been no formal conversation or action for approving funding specifically for this project. And we really need to do that if we're going to make this building a reality, right? So we have to come up with somewhere, and not that's a surprise to anyone, but we should make a conscious effort to do that. And then finally, reflecting on 2025, I'd just like to say that, in my opinion, I think Palm Bay Metro has done an outstanding job and they've had some complex and high-profile cases this year. So I really appreciate all the hard work that you guys do, and they couldn't do it without the direction and teamwork with the Oversight Board. So thank you for everything to keep it safe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. No other announcements?
Anyone online?
Anybody online?
Okay.
Agenda item number 3, minutes of previous meeting, Oversight Board meeting minutes of November 20th, 2025. Any changes, corrections that you see? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Maloney, second by Jablonski. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda item number 4, budget to actual.
I can
Ryan?
walk through if any questions, but some of the bigger items, I know in here, there's some overages, especially you may see like a police department special events or meetings. There's going to be times where the police department is doing contracted services for other areas, and then we actually get revenue back from some of those police services, but you're not going to see that on the expense side, so it's not going to balance out. But again, those revenues are coming in, but you're not seeing it. I know Jamie had a question on that. CCIT as well, under 52-110, 244, and then also 249. So with the 249 or 244, excuse me. There were some additional expenses that came for CCIT this year that we'll not be expecting for 2026. We have the same budgeted number going into 2026 with the idea that that would be at or below. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Hunter, Captain Aldrich, but.
Yeah, I think we just have to go back to the first page here, and you're looking at some of the money that's coming in from general donations are at $123,000, and some of these other fees that we charge, they come back into the general fund. We don't, for example, we don't put overtime used for Tomahawk. When we get the check from Tomahawk, we don't put it back into overtime. We put it back into our revenues coming back in. That way it keeps our budget in check, so we're not dumping back money into the overtime and thinking there's more money in there. It's getting paid back. It's kind of like a savings part of that. Same thing with CCIT. We bought those body cameras out of CCIT because obviously they weren't budgeted for, but we got a grant for it, so we got money back on them. We had to pay for it. One of the other weird ones in here is we ended up paying for that contract for the Humane Society, and our overage on that, we had 148 non-dogs that went there. We were budgeted for 110, so we have an overage charge, and they wanted to rewrite the contract, but remember, this is the first year that Weston was included in that, so a pile of cats got trapped and taken up there, and I'd rather get a couple years to level that off before we start changing the contract and paying them more money until we see, was just a fluke that it's the first year they had it, and Schofield had it, and the town had it, and so just kind of riding a little bit of the wave to see what's going to happen on that. But I think the biggest part of this is there's some overages, but if you look at the first page and money coming in for like law enforcement state aid, we got $11,200 back from the state for sending officers or getting 24 hours of training, and that doesn't go back into our training expenses. It just shows up as revenues coming back in, so.
Under general donations though, aren't some of the fundraisers for this year were specific for the canine? So are some of those funds specific for canine? Because there's not a specific canine.
Yep, and there's specific accounts for those. I would have to go back and see what all the donations are, but even before some of our fundraisers, we had a lot of donations this year.
Not disagreeing, I'm just saying the
Yeah.
123 doesn't go back to general fund because some of it's specific for what it got donated.
Without looking at that, I can't answer that yet because some of the canine donations went right into a canine account. And I don't think those accounts are showing up on here because we had specific accounts for those.
Are they kept separate?
Yes,
Yes,
Would they have a separate,
bank account.
but are they set up as a separate custom report then within, you know what I mean?
I know what you're saying. We'd have to look back.
Are they separate accounts?
They are separate.
they are.
Yeah. Just to keep it very transparent.
Yeah,
Well, if somebody questioned, somebody that donated the money questioned,
Correct.
to see it, yeah, yeah.
well, maybe whereas in the future, if we'd put those.
Go up on here.
Yeah.
I agree.
You could just do it as a separate custom report. It wouldn't have to be on this one, but.
Yep, that makes sense.
Because this one is also set up to our budget. It's reflective of so it's easy to do where our income's coming in.
Good. Any other additions to it?
No, I still think we have a healthy budget going into December, and I feel very good on it with all the expenses that were paid out this year. And some of the weird things that we did this year is we got some of our cars treated for rust, just to see if that's going to make a difference for us on longevity, because some of our cars were looking pretty rough there for a while, and we're just trying to mitigate some of the problems with cars, so.
Very good.
Can I just ask on legal services? I saw that we haven't spent anything, which is cool. But I do know that we asked for some things to get reviewed. Were we just not billed for those?
I think we've been taken very well care of from our attorney, and I don't remember
Specifically,
giving or having any bills to pay, correct?
Well, now has left us, right? He has issued us a letter to say he can't continue.
Yeah. And,
Because he was appointed a judge.
yeah,
Cool.
and, oh, good for him.
That's what we want for sure.
And without talking about a non-agenda item, we'll talk about that the next month.
Very good.
Yeah.
Any other questions from Chris? Agenda item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding current building design, status and bid process.
Sure. I just think it's important that we have the building on each one of these dockets so that everybody understands in the public that we're talking about a new building and a new design. We've had numerous meetings with Husheng and Jason on the building, and started yesterday, I got an email, and then today I got this attachment that you're going to see here. HTG through Bolt is requesting an extra $48,000 for completion of the project. And if you look at that spreadsheet on the back, so far we have paid Bolt $232,251.14. And because the project had changed is what they're requesting more money for to complete the project. If I printed off the initial bids that we had, so our initial ones that we had was EAU and HTG. When we went through the project, even on EAU, it says that the project was a $3 million project. And if it would go up by X number, the price would go up on it. And so the scope of our project in here was 8.3. So HTG is saying they need that additional money to complete everything for the project. And they're saying February to complete all drawings and get it ready for bid. The only thing we had was we have one interior room that had some changes to it. And I feel like we need some from HTG that says, okay, this is it. Guaranteed 100%, there's no more or no less, and we're gonna get this thing done because this is the second time, if you go back on here, we approved 59,000 once, and that was already in here, and now we're at another 48 to get to that point. So,
I got a question for Shane, Jason, and you, Chief. Would it be possible if we send a letter out and state that we need a final bid on or before March 1st, 2026? Is that possible to put it to scope in action?
Well, just a couple of comments here. The first time we met with him was November 3rd. I asked him if he can finish the project in 60 days. He checked with his junior architect, she was sitting there, and she said, yes, we can do it. Then we decided, I asked Chief, we invite him again, we met with them, and that was last week. And I asked him how far he is with the project. He said 75%. But at the same time, we start talking about more time with that. And I think I'm kind of disappointed because when I give him 60 days, he should have talked about it right then.
Right.
Because also he said he got to talk to this engineer at the last week meeting to see where they are. He had a month to do that.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it.
I'm just saying, can we have it's like a drop dead clause.
You can,
When you have it in, we did that in the lending practice. It's called a drop dead clause. You put a hard line date on it and then you hold your feet to the fire. Because this is a lot of money that is going in. And then the second one is you want the design at the same date. You would want the design completed by February 15th, 2026. If you need to put in overtime to do it, you got to do it. Is that possible to have that in writing for?
Well, my one concern is with this, what are the deliverables besides this? So two processes, right? Bolt states in here, they were really hoping to CM this project, right? Which is probably why you're seeing this letter today. If they were CMing it and it wasn't going out to bids, you might not have seen this. Okay, just gonna say that. Because they obviously are trying to protect the project and keep it in their business. But there's gonna be, once you actually go to bids, who's gonna be looking over construction bulletins, looking over change orders, looking over all those other aspects of this job until it actually gets built. Typically, that would be the architect. They're gonna look that stuff over. But doesn't say that in here. And so is that gonna be an additional charge on top of this charge?
Right.
And so like in the past, when I've signed these or we've done these even at the district, we have a percentage-based fee upfront on those services. It's 4% and the project goes up by 100,000, they get an extra 4% of 100,000. And so, you know, I guess, because it also doesn't say on the back what the split is. Like, I don't know how much of this is HGPs and how much is bolts, right? It's really not split out. It's just total cost.
This is all HTG.
So this whole 300 is them.
Yeah, Bolt was another, I think 45 is what comes to my mind.
So 300 would put them at roughly 4%, roughly, I think, of about an $8 million job, right? Somewhere in there, roughly speaking. You would, in today's day and age, I think you would plan on paying for that type of work anywhere up to maybe 6% for, but probably around 5%. So I think first we really have to make, like, it almost seems like we need a contract. If we're gonna send this to bid.
I didn't see the contract at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a contract? I'm sorry, Jason.
No,
we had a contract initially. I'll have to pull it back out to look at it. And maybe a solution for this is we get on another conference call early next week. And we talk about what we want by asking them.
I think we should read his contract. I haven't read it.
Yep.
We should read his contract, see what are they proposing to do or what they asking to get paid at the beginning with that contract. I agree with Jason. We changed the scope because we said we don't want Bolt to do the project, which is I feel fine about it. That's the way it should be. But the architect usually charge about 4% for his work and another 3% for his engineers, or 4%. So, but what he's asking in here, some of it, like changing the code, is not in his control really. The code change and you gotta make a change and he had nothing to do with it. But there are some other things like a design change. I don't know what design change is there, what he's talking about.
Well, I think some of that they're referring to, and I'm just speculating, is when we first started the project, that building size had changed dramatically from the first time. But other than that, I don't really have any design change because we pretty much have rolled along that the building was what it was. It's not like that has changed.
Well, he said in here, he said footprint of the building change,
Good.
and also he's asking for a structural engineer. And I'm not sure what he changed structurally to ask for $30,000 almost.
48, I think is what they're looking for extra, right?
48.
Well, we got to see what he's asking, why he's asking for a structural change. What did he change here?
Initially, when EAU for a $3 million building, they were at 257,000, and HTG was at 195,000, and that was at a $3 million building, and they run it off dollar amount. Must have a way to do that.
Yeah, so that, it sounds like it's around 8.5% to 9% is probably what that fee looked like at that time for that size building. I mean, you could argue the bigger the building, right? Sometimes you get a little bit of a break in the fee because the price tag goes up.
Yeah.
It would also be nice to look at that contract just because there may be, and I'm sure they're covered, but there may be some things in there where they give you so many different versions of, you know what I mean? Like renditions of that building. Sometimes it's in there, but if it's based off of just the dollar amount, the dollar amount goes up, the price goes up.
I'll pull the contract out and get it out.
I think regardless, if the building today stands at, let's just say that today it's a $9 million building, okay? I don't know, just because it was somewhere between 7 and 9, but let's just say it's 9. Well, you're gonna have to pay them fees based on $9 million in what we should be paying an architect to do that type of work. And they're probably not quite there yet as far as the payment structure. But I would definitely probably make sure that we have in writing what all the deliverables are gonna be until this thing, you know, you get the keys in your hand and we take it over.
I assume building be 7 million. If you pay him everything he's asking, he's getting 5.1%. Assume, that's just the assumption. And 5.1% for a fee for architect is not bad.
No, it's a pretty good fee.
Help me out here if I missed something, but where are we expecting this to come in? This is at 9 million, correct?
No.
It's not?
No.
So when he has construction document deliverable for design, redesign, a new footprint and budget perspective, we've told him that we want where? 7?
7 million.
7.
But we were at 8.3.
Okay.
We had a conference call. We changed some stuff like,
The old building was another 400 or 500.
well, that was
It
correct, but that's,
can be done separate.
well, that's,
Just taking that off the table,
Yep,
for
yep,
now, I think,
yep.
right? We're gonna,
That's fine.
for the, we got to see where this bid comes in on this building first.
Okay.
So, heating and cooling was a big thing. They made
Dollars, yeah.
a lot of adjustments to that. And, without having a spreadsheet in front of us, we didn't have a new layout on the spreadsheet. But between the three of us and HTG and Bolt, there was some cutting on it to try to get it down. I don't know if we're quite down to 7 yet, but the garage, part of the garage was an alternate and the entire garage was alternate because we just want to see where this is going to go. But everyone's saying if we leave it like that and it goes out for bid, you don't know what's going to come in for bid. And if you take it out for bid, doesn't mean you have to build it either.
I think with the blacktop cost, which we look at it, that was different,
Yep.
significantly lower.
Yep.
And also some other item in there, which we look at it like a storage building in the back. That was quite a bit different. So we are close to 7 if we tie all these numbers together. And it's not $9 million project.
Which, again, if you guys are meeting next week, I hear,
We're gonna try.
try to meet. And if you can you narrow this thing down to that, all the components and the functionality of it with a set date, chief?
Yep.
March 1?
Well, he's asking for February 15.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think that's what we originally talked about, and that's kind of what we talked about here at, on this committee level, right? Was kind of
right.
trying to get this thing ready to go out for bids by March, because municipalities, you need time to look at how to finance, right?
Mhm.
And so, plus you got to meet with your boards individually, and you, one or both or neither may support or not, right? In which case, then we must just stop talking about it.
February 15th?
March,
He's asking February
He's
15.
saying
February 15th.
We need our time
Right,
to do our part also.
Right.
So-
right.
But the project should be done at that.
But there were still, I think, Chief, we still had a few work scopes we had to work through.
Mhm.
So you still had like all the low voltage work, camera work, card access. I think that we came up with maybe a percentage for FF&E, but I told Bolt to vet that, make sure that was an adequate amount for FF&E. But then you're also gonna have, there's other things that we really need to make sure we've got, like even moving costs. Doesn't seem like much, but by the time you get everything out of here and over there, you can burn up 50 grand and moving parts and pieces. And this should be a holistic, all in, here's the number. So we're not going back at, we're short 250 grand. What do we do now, right?
You're not moving the building.
You cannot,
I can see you being like, I'll.
Can, that's
Take
what,
them myself.
but if we can
Got it.
identify ahead of time, it's always better to get it.
No,
I
no.
know a guy.
So,
And I don't think some of those work scopes are quite there yet, right? I know, like, I don't know if you're gonna reach out to Permar or not, talk to them about getting a budget.
Yep.
I did call Mark Beta from Permar, told me you'd be calling him.
Yep.
So he knows that he's like waiting by his phone,
Does
but
Everest work with Permar
we work with Permar quite a bit.
primarily?
Primarily, yeah.
Okay.
And they use Permar now, and for a budget number, I mean, he'll have like a square footage number that he can give you probably within a day. At least you have a budget. Doesn't mean you can't bid it out, but I'm sure if you work with him now, he'll give you a budget.
I think one of the other components here is we need to really have a number. And I really think that oversight should have a number, and because municipalities should be planning for this. And I think we need to set a number and say it's like $7 million, no more. So that, because I don't know how Weston or Rothschild are going to plan for this, because we just have to have that number set. And I think oversight should be able to set that number and then push it on. So.
But also HTG's number and Bolt's number isn't in that number. You're paying them separate.
So far, this money has been paid out of our current budget right now.
But
Just like the land purchase was paid for out of our budget.
But moving forward, whatever additional costs HTG would have for putting this together, at some point, I would imagine would get paid out of that ask. So it doesn't keep coming out of your budget. So if it's, you know what I mean? If we're setting, it's 8 million total all in after HTG and FF&E and all the other things. I mean, you don't want to keep paying their fees out of your budget unless you've got it budgeted.
The plan, I think the thought would be, and you're absolutely right, where once we set that, let's say it's 7 million, whatever it is, that both village boards are comfortable with. What you're seeing in police department, capital, what was it building?
176 or 178.
Our plan is to come up with an amortization schedule so that the police department.
this plan, there's no risk, there's no big take chance.
Can we have one talker?
Yep.
Wushang.
We got one at a time here. One at a time, guys.
Yeah, we could,
So the thought would be through the budget under the police department capital buildings, that we'd come up with an amortization schedule, both villages would borrow in this hypothetical, pay for the building. That way then, gets completed, and then the police department's budgeting every single year for the next, say, 30 years or whatever it is, and it's paying back both the Village of Weston and Village of Rothschild.
That part of it I get, and I think that's whether you do it that way or you just pay for it, right? Because you're basically taking the money from the taxpayer, giving it to them, they're giving it back, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's.
Only thing we thought, I was looking out for the police department side, is if we put it into their budget, at least then it continues to grow, so it keeps going up. And if we take it out, then it's just a smaller, numerator, however you want to look at it, it keeps growing by from an interest point.
And it makes it fiscally responsible that the payment's coming out all the time from the budget. So it's an accountable expense instead of not having it that way.
So do we want to talk then about, you've got the numbers from the last proposal from Bolt on that budget, minus those couple of work scope items, and I don't have it in front of me, but you think it's still around 7 million?
I thought it was a little bit more than 7 million, but I think we can get it down to 7 million. We had some conversations. I talked to American Asphalt, for example, got a side bid just to get an idea, see if we're spot checking this thing right. And they were significantly low. I think it was 172 for asphalt versus 240. We checked on some landscaping. The landscaping was high. The other question is Rothschild was we have some dirt that is capable of the area of 4,000 yards for the building. So there's some savings in some of that. And if we hire our municipalities to hook up the water lines and stuff, there's some savings in those areas. But we have to get those numbers worked in there so they're hard numbers and we're not just willy-nilly at the end saying, we can do it for this. So
My only fear with some of the municipality work, as long as the crews think they can do it, the problem you run into is if you hire a construction company and they are there and they say laterals need to go in next Tuesday and you can't put it next Tuesday, now they're gonna get you a schedule compression and they're gonna ask for more money because you're delaying their project. So that's my only concern about taking on too much of those responsibilities on your own. And I think our budget at this point should be one that covers. We may not be able to utilize those municipalities to help. If we can, great, but we may not be able to. And so I guess between Ryan and Jamie, is it fair to say, like, let's just say the difference between an ask of 7.5 in the municipalities split respectively or 8.2, is it a huge difference or not really a big difference?
For me, you're asking them to, for me, it's a huge difference.
I'm just-
I don't understand how this has to be over $7 million, period, if not less. That's for me. And I built a lot of buildings, a lot of grocery stores, and I just don't understand this. And as far as your question on the utility crews, it's amazing how they actually do work really hard, for our own places. Where we ran into some trouble last time is our municipal building. We got slammed by Myron on a lot of issues. We're still having a problem with landscaping and grass because, third parties did it in. I think if we would have done that, it would have been done. We did our old fire and police department with our own crew, and I think it came out perfect,
I'm not saying we can't.
So I know, but it's amazing if we can structure that. I would have more faith in our own two municipalities than somebody else, to be honest. But
Where I was going with my question really though, wasn't about
the additional fees.
how much it wasn't about how much we'd spend at the end.
Mhm.
It was about whether or not we can get municipalities to both agree to funding. And we have to set a dollar amount at some point in time. And I don't want to set it so low that now we just can't do it for that number, right? And so the question really was, if it's $8 million, but we know it's gonna be 7.3 all in, can the two municipalities, is 8 million doable? And they can get support knowing that we can get that number down a little bit, but at least it gives you a number to go after, right?
Right. Yeah, so when I talked to Baird, I know Weston uses Zellers, but Baird for the Village of Rothschild felt very comfortable if this building came in at 7 million or less. Our borrow for the Village of Rothschild will be 2.45 million, plus probably another 30 to 50,000 for administrative costs that go with borrow. The reason why is because and it's not just for the police department, but now we have to put in the borrows that we've done for economic development, the roads and then our water utility, and Baird has modeled that out for the next 3 borrow cycles. And they like to keep that dollar amount at $3 or less in terms of all your debt service on top of your kind of mill rate. And so that with the Village of Rothschild, we're hovering around that 217 to 238 of that full dollar amount of the 17, 18 or whatever it is dollars that we have total for our mill rate. So that's why the Village of Rothschild, if we go above that of a $7 million building, that's where I know Baird they're starting to get panicky. But if we keep it at 7 million or below, they're fine.
What's our square footage again?
It was 28,000, that was including the garage.
Without the garage?
But the garage was 14 roughly. Interior was somewhere around 12.5, I think, 12.5 for the interior.
Square footage?
Yeah, 12,500.
Are you a little over?
No, the building itself. The building itself, I thought was in the 20s.
28.
Or 28.
Yep.
So 28 does not include the outbuilding.
No.
And we're still at 28. It did not get downsized at
Yes, you got,
25.
well, as a couple alternates, we took some off the garage and we took the whole entire garage off for alternates.
The garage is off. The building itself, I just want to do the $7 million into what, 28? Into 26.6 for the 1,400 square foot garage?
28,200. That's exactly as it's drawn.
All right, that's fine.
Without the modifications. So we're still at the 28.
Correct, unless we start subtracting garage space in two different segments.
248 square foot.
So would it be fair to set a date for the final design bid by March 1st and set a motion to that effect? And then if you meet next week, would it be fair to say that at the next meeting, you come back with a figure that has a parameter of, let's say you meet and you say it's 7.25 million. And then set that as the dollar amount to work with. But would that be fair?
I'd like to see the building total with everything and some of that low voltage and stuff in there at $7 million.
Okay.
And Bethany,
What's that?
and furnitures and fixtures and equipment. I mean, I think 7 million with those extras that you're talking about is a difficult number to reach.
No furniture there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I'm just trying to get to a point here where I'm trying to think like when it gets to both the boards, and I'm just thinking about our board, right? If Ryan comes to us and says, we can't absorb our half of anything more than $7 million, it would be hard to go beyond that if that's what we can afford, right? And that's what that number looks like. The reality is the only way we're probably going to get there is if we make the building smaller. And then is it going to fit your needs?
In the future. And we're still at a 65-35 split, right?
I don't know if we can make the building smaller, but we can make the garage smaller for some savings in there. The entire removal of the garage was $850,000. I'd like to see where we are on their number scale with their bid process because they took this out to bid with some of our changes. I'd like to see what that exactly is. When I talked to EBI, they gave me a quote of 176 for furnishings. Everything that's in this building is going to go right along with us into the next building. And
The next building's bigger. You're gonna need more.
doesn't mean that we have to furnish everything the day we walk in there either. We've done a very good job of getting furnishings and new furnishings here so that when we get there, we can build off from what we did. So when we bought some stuff here, I bought it so that it's up to date, like some of the furniture, so that we can build off from it. So it's not throwaway junk. I'm not a throwaway junk guy. I'm a guy that repurposes and moves. And
But what you move out of here is an asset to Rothschild. Would not
It's an asset to Mountain Bay Metro
oh, it is.
because when just like the car discussion, like we had,
What, this year?
it was bought, some of that was bought prior, but some of it was bought even during, but everything that Rothschild purchased prior, that's how the agreement works. Same thing with Weston. It's all part of the police department. So I'm not going to go to my board and say, oh, we're going to nickel and dime.
Just thought I should ask.
Yeah.
and we don't have to furnish every office that's there. We have to furnish them as we move and or gain staff for it. And even like the conference room, I'll use folding tables if we have to for a period of time, and all the officers would agree to that, because that's what we're doing right now, and I understand. You want everything perfect, but you can't. If you get the building and build over the next couple of years, you're doing a lot better than what we are right now.
Jason,
We're in trouble right now.
did you get your question answered? I want to ask a different question, so.
You can go ahead and ask.
Okay, so, we've said yes to change order of $59,000 one, correct? And it's still not paid. We still owe 17,000 from the original 250. So we have right now in the book $76,000. When is that slotted to get paid? I don't need an answer. Is it slotted or is it not?
I don't believe we've received an invoice.
Okay,
The way that it was.
I don't think it should be.
HTG bills,
Yep.
Bolt invoices.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. So this letter is from HTG going to Bolt,
Yep.
Bolt to us. And that 2A and 2B is the 38 and the 10 respectively, $48,000.
Which would still need to be approved.
Yes, tonight yet or whatever. So the kicker I have on this approval is we have got to lock them in on a date that we have to have an answer. And without that answer, no. Doesn't get
Right.
paid. They have got to perform. They have got to perform. There's been stuff said, publicly here. And they have got to perform. Has this been a little wishy-washy? Sure. A lot of projects have been that way. But they've got to get on this. Holy mackerel, right? Are you guys frustrated when you talk to them? Do you feel like it's kind of out there?
I just told them, you can't have a moving target.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Let's stay with that date,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
My only argument to that on our end is if we keep changing the dollar
Yep.
amount on the budget, it's hard to build something when, well, if your Bolt comes back, we're budgeting this thing at 7.7 million. If we tell them, and that's why I'm going back to this number, if we say we can't go above 7 million, which means construction cost has to be $6,200,000, they're gonna say, well, we're gonna start, where are we gonna cut? Because you're gonna have to make substantial cuts.
My only thought is this was started with several members of a different board too, but we started at a much, much lower rate. They had no problem building this number up to this level, to what, 9.2? Or
8.3.
what?
8.3.
8.3? They had no problem doing that. Now all of a sudden they've got all this anxiety of taking it back, where it should have been, they should have designed it and built it at that level. We did a lot of things in the middle here. We straightened out corners, they wanted this, they wanted that whole front entrance differently. We said, no, we don't need that. They had over by the chief's office, some different alcoves and different outside buildings. No, rectangle. It just makes more sense. I don't know. I'm a little frustrated, but I will support this project. Whatever this oversight committee decides, and when it goes back to the two boards, I will sell my damnedest. I think public safety is so important.
Are we ready to make a motion
Go ahead.
to?
I think one other
If you
issue.
have
that
one
I'm
more,
hearing-
then.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to see what he's gonna do for the project. He's asking 48,000,
Mhm.
but for whatever he has in his letter. Is still who's gonna run the project? Who's gonna approve the change orders? Because there is possibility, always there is a change order. So
Well, there's a $10,000 request just in case Bolt doesn't run the show, right? Am I reading that right?
Bolt is not
On the
gonna.
last, it says here, construction administration, if bid GC to market in lieu of Bolt CM. That's a $10,000, I might not understand that.
That would be for them to put the bid documents out. Either Bolt's gonna do it or
Okay,
they're gonna have
okay,
to do
all right,
it.
that makes sense.
Somebody's gonna have to get all
So
the,
they're hedging if Bolt doesn't do it and they have to do it, we're gonna ask for 10 more grand.
they're gonna ask for 10 more grand and
Well,
what,
that's only payable if they do it.
yeah, what you're gonna get, well, and they almost have to.
Hmm.
I mean, cause you have to have somebody that's gonna be able to get these things out on the builders exchange, right? And then there's gonna be a pre-bid meeting with contractors, somebody's gonna have to do it, they're gonna have questions specific to the job. There's gonna be clarifications between then and when bids come back, right? That somebody's gonna have to manage. Then when bids come back, somebody's gonna have to issue all the AIA contracts. And I don't think we wanna do that.
Okay, I'm done.
Can I ask one more question? I think what we should do is have a meeting before we do anything with this, have a discussion, and then bring this back and have a discussion with oversight before we approve everything. We just got it yesterday. We don't have to jam this through right now. We can have a discussion on this and go from there.
I think we should do a couple of different things. I think one, if Ryan, if you're saying 7 million is the, like, I don't think we can go above that. I think, I don't want to speak for the Rothschild board, but I think it'd be really tough for the Rothschild board to go beyond that amount, right? That total amount. And if that is the case, and that's the number, I think as a board, we should put it on our agenda to talk through whether or not we can fund this up to 7 million separately from sitting down with HTG again and vetting out that this is all inclusive of all their fees. And if it isn't, if you run this project till we get the keys from you, what's your total amount, right? And can we get it down to 6.5 million? What's that gonna take?
Still, we should see what is this contract saying today.
I don't disagree. I think we have to look at the.
I think we should see what he's saying, and then whatever else we talk here, especially for running the project, they all should be in the new contract or part of addendum to that contract.
So I think we just need a little time here, and I agree. I think we should set the price on this at no more than $7 million. There should be a discussion with the boards, and we should have a discussion with them as a group and see where we're at. Because we just got it yesterday and I put it out this morning, and it's not enough time to just sit down and stomach this whole.
And I just want to be clear, 7 million is the building, 7 million all in FF&E, PERMAR and everything, because I think those are two very different numbers.
I concur.
I think that all in, if you're saying 7 million is all in, it's a $6 million build.
Yes.
Right.
I'm only speaking on behalf of Baird and Rothschild. I'm sure Weston has much more of a debt capacity. It's just we don't. I mean, it's the.
Well, if we do or don't, we don't want to.
But
You know, so I mean, we built a municipal building and I believe that furniture was above and beyond. We brought as much over as we could, but that was above and beyond. There was a lot of above and beyond that budget. And that was a pretty wild year and a half of budget talks on what that building was going to be.
And I totally appreciate, like, we'll make it work, but you can only ask someone to sit on a folding chair for so long. Like, you will eventually need to furnish the building.
Well, I'm not worried about the offices. I've done a very good job of updating all these offices. And yes, Nick, the condition of our offices compared to what he came from are night and day difference. And that stuff is all going with us. And yes, you buy a couple desks here and there over time. I get it, but I'm not going to have my guys working in a bad environment because I've never done that to my guys. And
Gals.
Greg is sitting here and he'll tell you the condition of our stuff as well. It's night and day different from what he's used to.
Getting back to clarify this, Chief, you want to bring this to another meeting to go over this?
We need to wait till next month.
And the next month, come back to the oversight board with the exact numbers, the exact timeline of when the design comes in and when it's going out for bid, so we have the numbers, the dates and the numbers.
But I think oversight should, yes, but I think oversight should make a recommendation that the boards consider a borrow at $7 million and how that's going to look at.
Yes.
So no one's at a big surprise on this, and then we have to make this building work and get it down to what we have to.
Let's bring that to a motion.
Well, you know, something to say.
I can see it after the motions.
Excuse me, if we go to next month, we're losing a month, he's not gonna do anything. Then if we tell him March or February, he's gonna complain or he's gonna ask for more.
What are you saying?
Saying is, if we wanna go out finish this project by February 15, we should make a decision tonight and let them know.
Are we able to make this decision on this? Is this in number 5?
Yes.
It is. Building design status and bid. It's about a fee ask, correct? All right, I just want to make sure that number 5 encompasses this ask that we just got yesterday. Okay, all right.
So let me just throw a hypothetical motion out there and let me know your thoughts. This isn't an actual motion. This is what one could potentially sound like. Okay? So this isn't an official motion. If we hypothetically had a motion where we say, we want the municipalities both to look at how a $7 million total all-in construction FF&E budget looks for funding this project before, I guess, the next monthly oversight committee meeting, should be January sometime, right? And Chief Hunt sets up a meeting then with HTG where we can discuss total contract on their end to get us to the finish line. Okay? What that all includes, what that total fee is, and we would have that then by the next oversight meeting. Is that really all we have to get out of this today?
Correct. The next oversight meeting is January 15th. Our board meeting is January 12th. So if we bring that motion to the board at $7 million of an ask, can the board have that time and meet on it and say yes or no? It's got to be lower. And if it is yes on one and no on the other, then we have a problem. We have an issue.
And Jamie, how does that work for you in your meetings?
For the 19th, I'm pretty sure we're the third Monday. So if we moved this back a week, that would be a little better. Then we wouldn't have to have a special meeting.
We can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
For our next,
In our motion,
that would be.
Yeah.
We just back for.
we move it.
sounds good to me.
One be for 6 million to go to the board, the other one be just with the contract.
I'll make three motions, I think, then one.
Okay.
But then I would hypothetically second that.
Okay.
That's three motions.
So, all right, do we have any other discussion? I'm sorry, I'm doing your, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. If you want to make a motion, that's,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I make a motion that the board recommends that all-in construction FF&E total cost for this project, both municipalities look at a $7 million ask with the respective percentages. That's my first motion for their next board meeting.
We have a second.
You want it? Otherwise,
I'll second it.
Okay, all right.
Motion by Jablonski, second by Zagami.
I would just request that the chief put together a memo for the two boards that discusses the building, the need for the request, the amount that's being asked for, that it comes from Mountain Bay.
Mhm.
So it can be included in the packet. The administrators can put a cover memo on it, but I would like the request to come from the chief.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to include that.
Okay.
You'll amend your second. Okay.
Motion by Jablonski, second by Zagami. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, my next,
Shane, do you agree to the second?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
my next motion is that Chief Hunt works with HTG to set up a meeting to discuss total fees, inclusive of all costs to take this, we're gonna call it cradle to grave, right? When we get the keys turned over to us.
I'll second that.
Motion by Jablonski, second by Zagami. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
And my third motion, I recommend that we move our next oversight committee meeting 1 week back to give both municipalities the time to get this in front of their boards.
That would be on agenda item number 8.
And wait till agenda number 8 to discuss this. So,
All right, we'll do it then.
Okay.
all right.
All right, very good. Good discussion.
Very good.
Agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding police day-to-day activities and quarterly report. Who's that, Nick or Chief?
Nick's gonna take that quick.
Yeah.
Start, so we got our third quarter quarterly report done, which is attached in the packet. So I just want to cover a few things with this. On page 2, we did have our department annual meeting in August. Several awards were presented to staff for either major things that happened or things that they did. Some of those, which are as listed 20 years of service award for Chief Jeremy Hunt, Captain Kevin Ostrowski, Officer Tom Jordan, Detective Leah Long, Detective Sergeant Dan Goff, SRO Greg Shrimp, SRO Jeff Zwicky, 10-year service awards for SRO Abby Benke, and K-9 Officer Jace Klum. From 2 critical incidents that happened during the time this department was coming together, between Rothschild and Everest Metro. Nate Zolke, Tanner Ulig, Austin Valenta, and Brockton Joachim received Medal of Valor pins. Both or all 4 of those were involved in critical incidents between the 2 jurisdictions. For individual shift awards, for kind of going above and beyond, I just want to touch on a few of the things that the officers did. So Andrew Petzel and Austin Valenta got a service award for the use of less lethal. For that call, they were dealing with an individual who actually, as they were going into a garage, came out of a garage with a rifle and it pointed at them. Those situations can turn deadly into officer-involved shootings. They were able to communicate with the person, and rather than using deadly force, they used our less lethal shotguns, deployed them on the person. The person ended up dropping their firearm and was taken into custody safely, and nobody was injured. Mac Bober and Josh Kriegel in August ended up doing CPR on the side of the road for an individual who was having a heart attack and saved that individual's life. Brady Pazer put out a vehicle fire on August 8th. Matt Hobley and Mac Bober both had larger drug busts based off of just proactive traffic stops, which goes to show if you're doing the right things, just an average traffic stop for speed or having, wrong sticker on your plate can lead to taking a large amount of drugs out of our community. And the last one, this one, if you ever get to see the video, it's pretty impressive. Brady Pazer was requested to assist Kronewetter. They had a suicidal person who was actually standing on a bridge over the highway, wanted to jump off the highway. Kronewetter, the officer there, was trying to communicate with the person, and between the 2 of them, they were able to distract the person, and Pazer went up and bear hugged the gal and pulled her off the bridge so she didn't jump. It was a good meeting. It was good to recognize the officers for some of the great things that they did. And there's a lot of officers on the department who've done other great things that didn't get awards for it, but they do great things every day. And I think that's important for the board to know.
Yes. Outstanding.
Very good.
Under equipment, we did order some equipment that went into service. We have a good number of our computers are CF54 mobile data computers. Those don't really work with Windows 11 well, which is something that we've had to go to. So we did replace 2 of those computers. We also had the approval to order the 5 AEDs from this board, and they were ordered and put in service. Moving down to the school resource officer section, we added in the middle school. The prior reports had just the junior and senior high, and we're going to continue to expound on that. With that being said, the numbers that are shown here for citations, referrals, and reprimands, that's only for 1 month of school because this quarter only encompassed the month of September.
Middle school is 6 and 7, right?
Yes, 6th, 7th. I don't know if 8th is right. 8th at the middle school too, or is just 6th and 7th?
6 up.
6, 7. Okay, thank you.
I can't believe that 6-7 comes up in this. How much did we try to get? Right? The whole thing in the school is terrible. Anyway.
Then under kind of the department stats, for our 3rd quarter, you can see we actually have 3rd quarter of 2024 to compare to now. We are, for calls for service, we're about 1,200 calls ahead of where we were for 3rd quarter 2024. The other thing, we've had increases in certain areas like theft reports in 3rd quarter 2025 have gone up. We've had retail thefts at Target and a couple other patterns that are trending higher. Other than that, 3rd quarter was busy with working on several events that happened. 4th quarter, like the Monster Bash, which we've talked about in the past, the K-9 fundraiser that we had, and the return to the school.
2 other points. We have a conditional offer out for 1 individual and then 2 retirements in January. So when we meet, we'll be 2 officers short and hopefully 1 in school waiting to start in June of next year, so.
Pretty good.
And then your email, Jeremy?
Oh, my email, I forgot. So we met with the workers' comp insurance and passed that out. Kind of interesting. We had no workers' comp claims for 2025. They wanted to know what our formula was because that doesn't happen in many places.
Well,
Especially what
And
you're involved in, yeah.
so when we came together, we had a car crash, a knee injury, which was not a workers' comp claim, and one other minor one. So really, in the last 2 years, we have 3 workers' comp claims, which is unbelievable for the type of work that we're involved with. So
good.
very impressive.
Yes.
Very.
Giving you a rebate back.
It's kind of funny when you look at the totals on the next page, you can see that at 1 year, workers' comp was at $56,000 and again, this year, 0.
Yeah.
A knock on wood, but
Super. Super.
So I just want to add something with that. So the workman's comp gal that met with us did ask if we're doing something different because claims going down, they generally don't see that. And one of the things that was brought up is looking at use of force. Our use of force has really gone down. So starting last year, Chief Hunt has been telling sergeants, kind of preaching to everybody, roadhouse rules. So be nice until it's time not to be nice. And it sounds funny, but officers are putting that into practice and we can measure use of force and injury.
Roadhouse sounds tougher though.
Sounds
Patrick Swayze, come
Yeah, I know,
on.
that's what I mean.
Or Jake Gyllenhaal, it depends. I mean.
They don't use the line in the new one.
You have,
Oh, okay.
you have to attribute attitude and morale. Yes. Positive. to,
Sure.
You know, so,
Yeah.
yep.
I agree, and we don't look at it that way. We just do our day-to-day operations, but the point of the matter is we do have roadhouse rules and we don't want citizen complaints and we don't want use of force unless you absolutely have to do it. And I'm not saying we can't do it, but there's a time and a place for everything, so.
Right.
And tribute this to our staff. We got good staff right now.
Yeah. Very good. Very
And a
good.
bunch of young kids, so.
Work.
Yes, very good. Agenda item number 7, announcements and statements from the Oversight Board.
I'm good. Have Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay, very good. Now, number 8, set date, time, and agenda items to discuss at next meeting. Now you can make that
Yeah,
motion.
what's your pleasure?
I would love to make a motion that we postpone the meeting to the following week. I don't know that exact date.
January
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
January 22nd, same time, same place.
Ooh, Batman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jablonski, second by Maloney. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Agenda item,
We're adjourned.
legal services.
Okay.
We have to find a new attorney for
Okay.
Melville.
Well, we can.
We'll have that on the next month.
Yeah. What do we do in the meantime? We have a whole month of, what do we call?
Ghostbuster.
Okay.
No, I know,
Hennigan gave us until the middle of January that he would help us out.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay, good.
I know, Chief Hunt's been working with another, so we'll figure it out, but it'll be on the next agenda.
Okay.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Yep. So moved.
Second. Motion by Maloney, second by Jablonski. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We are now adjourned.
Thank you.
Well, we got no
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're gonna have some.
Contract for some.
Yeah.